Hello and welcome to Long's Toys. I have a Transformers review for you today. This is one I was very excited about. It is Generation's Brainstorm. Brainstorm was always kind of a favorite character of mine when I was a kid, so I was very excited when I found out he was getting a new updated version. So here he is, but I'm going to put him off to the side for a second so we can take a quick look at the packaging. Nothing too significant. Pretty cool picture of Brainstorm here on the side, or I should say the front, and wraps around to the side. Very nice. This side is just kind of half the window, the Autobot symbol. Not really anything on the top or bottom. Just shows Skybite is also available. On the back here, you have obviously robot mode and vehicle mode. It has got, I'll see if I can zoom in here, and we can read the bio real quick. And then the tech specs. So, pretty cool packaging. I really like the picture on the side. I think that's pretty nice. There we go. So, we'll go ahead and we'll get a closer look at the toy. So here we have Brainstorm. I think he's a very impressive figure. I really love the color scheme. It's the same color as the original toy. It's showing up a little bluer on camera, but it's kind of a bluish green. I really like it. He has these two accessories. They're identical guns, but they're very nicely detailed. Or I should say the detailing here is, I don't know if it's intentional or just to save on plastic, but it looks pretty cool. And I love the silver painting. And you can kind of look down the barrel a little bit, which is kind of cool. So these can go in his hands, as you've just seen. Or if you want, you can put them on the back. I kind of like to put them in these two holes. You can just peg them in like that. And then he's got kind of the cool, like, two stacks on the back look, which I think looks pretty cool. You could also take them off and plug them in where they go in vehicle mode on the sides here. So it's kind of the same effect, just if you do it like that, it's a little bit higher up. So either one you can do. Both look pretty cool. I kind of prefer the first way I showed, where you just plug them straight into the back. It's also a little bit easier to get them in and out. I'll put him off to the side for a sec. Articulation-wise, he's got a ton. The head is on a ball joint, so that can swivel all the way around. There is a ratchet here in the shoulder for up and down, but there's a movement for front and back. Right here, there's a swivel, like a bicep swivel. Then there is, because of the transformation, there are two hinges. Right here is one, and also right here where it actually meets the forearm. And they're both ratchets. The hand can kind of swivel in because of the transformation. He's got ratchets here in the waist for out to the side. These pieces can lift up. And they're really tight ratchets, but it can also do forward and back. The skirt in the front can also move up, so you can get good range of motion on the leg. Really, so it can move front and back, and then it's a really tight ratchet out to the side, as you can kind of hear. He's got a swivel right here at the thigh, and then he's got like 90 degrees here at the knee, and then the ankle can kind of move a little bit because of the transformation. So all in all, pretty good for articulation. I think it's pretty much what you'd want. He looks pretty cool from the back as well. So now we'll move on and check out the Headmaster gimmick. So after seeing some other reviews on YouTube, specifically I saw Bolt Matrix's review, he had some trouble with the Headmaster gimmick as far as, I think the pin in his broke, or the head, I should say, broke. If you open up this, the canopy here, and I'll try to, it's going to be hard to see because it's deep inside, but you can see he's got kind of the speed, strength, and intelligence thing that the old Headmasters used to have. So I think that's a pretty cool touch. And you can flip that up. I think it'll stay down because the head's in, but that flips up and becomes a seat when it turns into vehicle mode. I'll show you that later. To get the head out, you're supposed to press this gray piece right above the canopy down. But the problem is it fits in there really snugly. So when you press this down, you don't really see anything happening. What I like to do and what I've seen, or what kind of works for me, and I'll turn this and try to get in as close as I possibly can. I kind of move the feet of the headmaster out of the way, and you can kind of see the little bit of the robot's head. I just kind of, while holding that gray piece down, I try to just kind of slide it out the back, and that seems to work for me. If you try to pull it straight out, I feel like it's going to break. And I'll show this now. If you can see this gray piece here, when you press this down, it's supposed to move it back. But most of the time when you plug the head in, this gets stuck in this at this point anyway. So pressing this down doesn't really do anything. But since it is pressed down, I've noticed that if I just kind of like slide it out from underneath it, so I'm just kind of pulling it out and away, then it'll just pop out the back and there's no trouble. So that's kind of what I've done. So you don't, I'm really nervous I'm going to break it, and I really obviously don't want to. But yeah, that's what I've been doing so far. And it's worked out pretty well. So we'll go ahead and we'll take a closer look at the head here. Alright, so here's a real close-up of the head in head mode. As you can see, this is the head of the robot, and that's where the ball joint is. But I think the head's pretty nice. I would have liked to see the eyes maybe a little bit bigger, but otherwise I think it looks pretty good. I like the design of the side and everything. To transform it, obviously you just bring this piece down and then fold out the legs, and that's kind of it. As I said before, this is the ball joint, so you can see the head. The arms just kind of fold out, and you can see the arms painted there on the inside. But unfortunately, it's still just, from this side, looks like a giant panel for an arm. But overall, it's not too bad. I feel like they probably could have done something. I mean, even the original Headmasters kind of had better arms than this. So, I don't know. But it's not bad. I appreciate the ball joint in the head to give the head movement while it's attached. Alright, so Brainstorm's transformation is very simple. Before I get into it though, what I did notice when I was messing around with this thing, I unfortunately got the wrong piece. You can see the piece here, how it's straight down, and this side is beveled. And the reason that is because it should be beveled on the back, so that when you push it flush against this, you'll see when I do the transformation. But I got two of the right pieces, and there's really nothing I can do about it because of the way it's attached. It's on a hinge, the pin's through, and the plastic's been kind of soldered closed. So, unfortunately, mine just has two right flaps. So maybe when you're buying yours before you buy it in the store, make sure that the flap on both sides goes straight down. I know you won't be able to see the bevels in the back, but if it goes straight down like this and doesn't have this bevel in the front, and you can see what I mean, how it's thicker here and then it goes in and glues down. So just make sure yours doesn't have that, so that way you don't... I mean, it's not a huge problem, but obviously it's a manufacturing mess up or assembly problem. But anyway, to start the transformation, you can open this. Each of the forearms opens like that, and you just fold the fist in and then close it. Do that on both sides. You're going to come around to the back and unpeg this whole thing, and that'll start to swivel down. Then rotate these flaps up as high as they go to kind of get them out of the way. And then you're just going to rotate the whole leg back like this. And you can see there's a peg here on the back of the leg. That's going to go into that peg I showed you earlier where I put the gun in. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's wrong. This peg is where I put the gun. This is a different peg for the foot. You can see it's right a little bit diagonal from it. So that's going to peg in right there. Do the same with the other one. Oop, make sure these arms are out of the way. Alright, so once both of the legs are pegged in, you can bring this whole thing around, and this will kind of peg in, snap. Now, like I said, this piece will go down, and as you can see, because it has the bevel, it sits flush against the leg, the piece of the leg. Now on this side, I'm not going to get that, because as you can see, it does not have the bevel, so it will not lie flush. So unfortunately, he's going to stick out a little bit. Not a huge problem, but it's mildly annoying. Come around to the back, and these whole pieces will flip up. The whole, basically, shin guard will flip up, and then you can just pop the feet in, and then close it back up. So you're pretty much already most of the way done. Now you're going to take the arms and at the bicep swivel, 180 degrees. Then you'll just kind of collapse these up. And as you can see right here, there's a peg. That's going to peg in right there on the side of the leg. And you just kind of have to play with these two swivels until it lines up. There we go. So again, 180, bend these around, line up the peg, peg it in, and then you can flip up these two wings up here. And then right under here, there is a like landing gear type of thing that you can flip out just so that it'll stand. Because it's got all these pieces from the arms. So there you go. And then last but not least, you bring back in the two weapons and just pop them in on either side, obviously in the two holes. So there you go. I really like it. I think the vehicle mode kind of reminds me of like something from Star Wars or something like that. Especially with that landing gear. I don't know why, it just reminds me of that. And it's also very reminiscent of the original vehicle mode. Just a little bit more stylized and, you know, newer with more articulation. Now, obviously, you can open up the canopy here. And like I said before, the piece with the tech specs or the speed, strength, and intelligence, you just lift that up and it'll click into place as long as the head's not in. Or really, it's just this bit here. If you were to push this down, that would flip back closed. But if you push it back up, it becomes a seat. And then you can bring the headmaster in here and bend him at the waist. And pop him right inside. And there you go. He fits in the canopy beautifully. So I really like this figure. Like I said, Brainstorm was always a favorite toy and character of mine, so maybe I'm a little bit biased. But I think they've done a really good job, especially for a first attempt at a headmaster here. We've seen some Target Masters previously, and now they're getting into the headmasters. I'd love it if they redid all of them. I'd love to see a chrome dome, highbrow, hardhead, even the Decepticons. I think would be really cool. My only complaints, obviously, I unfortunately got a assembly error and got two of the right piece. But assuming yours doesn't have that problem, then I think it's pretty great. The only other thing to worry about, like I said, is when you're taking the head on and off. I wouldn't pull it straight out because it might break the pin. But if you do my advice of just kind of sliding it out the back, then I feel like it should be okay as long as you're careful. So as long as the head doesn't break, I think this toy is fantastic. I really think it's cool. I applaud that they went for the headmaster gimmick. The headmasters were always kind of a favorite of mine, so like I said, I'd love to see more of them. Obviously, I have the assembly error, but assuming yours doesn't have that, I think the toy's great. But I'd love to hear from you guys. Please tell me what you think in the comments below. Please like and share this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. If you'd like to check out my Facebook and Twitter, there'll be links to them down in the description below. So I hope you've enjoyed this review of Generations Brainstorm, and thanks for watching.